So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you're from, whoever you are. Hello, welcome back to Football Heritage TV. I've been asked quite a lot in the last week or so when we talk about managers on stream as to who you would want as the next manager for Tottenham Hotspur. Asked if we could do a show based on, right, who are those people? Let's break it down. Let's have a look at them. Let's see what they're all about. So that's what we're doing. At the moment, we've got Barry, Box Office, and Corey Boyd. Lads, happy Saturday. How are you all?
Good that Spurs haven't screwed it up so far because we're not playing.
Yes, it's good. Spurs aren't playing. It's good. Alex, you good?
Really good. It feels like a holiday, and we've got another week till we play. I think it is, and well, actually, I think it's 2 weeks. I think it is, isn't it? Till Chelsea, isn't it? I think
6th of April in Chelsea.
Yeah, because I think FA Cup
Cool.
weekend next weekend, isn't it? So
3rd of April. 3rd of April
Yeah.
we play. So, yeah, what is it? The 22nd? Yeah, we've got peace for a while. But hey, we're filling some gaps. We're talking about Spurs. We're going to talk about managers. And Barry is there. His camera's not on. He's on mute, but Barry is there. So we'll speak to him in a minute when he decides
I am here, yes.
Oh, good. Are you driving?
I am.
Are you driving
I
to
am.
anywhere nice?
No. Well,
Oh.
I'm not driving. I'm not driving to Tottenham, so I'm driving somewhere nice. Yeah. So
Good. Well, listen, look, what I thought I'd do today, guys, I've been asked quite a lot, can we talk about the managers in more detail? And it's interesting because depending on what sort of a football fan you are, depends on what type of manager you want to come in next. That's natural, right? We've all got difference of opinions on what manager we like, what manager Spurs needs. And of course, I'll caveat this, gentleman, by saying we currently have a manager, but it's our prerogative as football fans, as content creators, it's our prerogative that if we want to talk about what's the next manager appointment for Tottenham Hotspur, then we can do that. And I think a lot of people are now at the stage where they don't want this manager. So I feel it's fair that we can talk about this. So I wanted to start, guys. If I was to say to you off the top of your heads, what odds do you think the bookies are giving on Ange Postecoglou being the next manager sacked in the Premier League? What odds would you give me?
7-3.
7-3. That's very precise. I like that. 7-3, said Corey.
6 to 4. 6 to
4. Alex?
I don't bet, so 6-1. So in fact, I don't know what that means. So
No, that's all right. 6-1. You've actually gone quite far out there. 6-1, which means that he's not one of the favourites. Look, I'll show you. Here it is, guys. These are the odds for the next manager to be sacked. And what you can see here, which is quite interesting, is so the lower than, for anyone who doesn't bet, the lower the number, the worse it is for a manager. So, for example, you can see at the bottom of your screen there, Enzo Maresca, you can get at the lowest of 13-1. So you put £1 on, you win £13 back. And the highest odds you can get on Maresca are with Bet365 at 26-1. Basically, Alex, for those who don't bet, that's Bet365's way of saying we don't think, from what we're hearing, we don't think that this manager's going to get the sack anytime soon. Same with Ruben Amorim, who you can get as low as 21-1. But then look at the 4 before that. Now, you'll notice that one of those 4 actually says no manager to leave. And what that means is that no manager to leave between now and the last game of the season. So it doesn't mean no manager to ever leave a Premier League club again. But it means that they don't think anyone else will get the sack in the next 9 games. So the 3 you're looking at there is you are looking at the favourite to go down, to get sacked first. The favourite is understandably Ruud van Nistelrooy. So you can't even get Ruud van Nistelrooy at 2-1. You can't get him at 2-1. The highest you can get him is at 1.91. So basically, if I stick on £1, Alex, I win back £1.91. All right. So I don't even double my money. Ange Postecoglou is what we're looking at, though. He is second favourite with the bookmakers. This isn't just Spurs fans, by the way. He is second favourite with the bookmakers at 4-1 and as low as 3.5-1. So stick £1 on, win £3.50 back. But the worrying thing for me here is you've then got Ivan Juric as the kind of go-between Ange and Amorim. But look at the difference. It jumps up from Juric at as low as 5-1 up to Ruben Amorim at 21-1. So the bookies are saying one of the next managers sacked is going to be Ruud, Ange, or Ivan Juric. Guys, I'll start off by asking, do these odds surprise anyone with how bad we've been and how bad a job the manager's done? Is anyone surprised at these odds, or is this just a symptom of what we are now?
It's a symptom of what we are. It should be lower for Ange, shouldn't it, really? If it was like 2-1s, I'd be sticking a tenner on it.
Short and sweet. Okay, good. This is going to be a good show if I just get short and sweet answers like that.
Savva, I'll caveat that, and it says that I don't know whether to take these odds seriously because it also says we're the favourites for the Europa League, right? So,
sure.
I'm not really sure.
Isn't that Barry by money lumped on it?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, look, Ruud van Nistelrooy. I mean, Leicester are down, Southampton are down. I wouldn't be surprised actually if nobody was sacked. I don't think even if we get knocked out to Frankfurt, and obviously I shouldn't be saying things like that because I should be supporting the club and supporting the manager and supporting everything that's going on, and everything is fluffy and rainbows and everything else, right?
Don't forget, you got to support Doris the tea lady, Barry.
Yeah. Oh, Doris makes a wicked cup of tea. So it's probably the only good thing going on at Tottenham. So I guess in a way I'm a flip flop, and I'm not allowed to say things like that. But I mean, I think we all know his time is coming up, or most of us do, and I think most of us have had enough. Some of us wanted it to work on various degrees. Some of us, the moment we signed Timo Werner and everything else, that was it. We knew it wasn't going to work. And as they said in the Lego movie.
Oh, he's
just
gone.
like that.
And he's gone. Good. Thanks for that, Barry. Something to do with the Lego movie, and then Barry disappeared.
He's got to insult a good movie. Like, come on.
Well, I've actually asked my mate Chris to come on, who actually works within the betting industry, to give us a bit more insight. I think I may have done it a bit of a disservice there. But my whole point wasn't that I'm an expert on betting. It wasn't about that. It was about, look, this is what the bookmakers have got down. Now, just to give you an idea of how that looks, if you actually scroll down past Maresca, there's no one really there that they believe is in trouble. You can see there you've got, I mean, Guardiola, you can get at 26-1. I fail to believe Guardiola is going to be sacked no matter what happens. Pereira, you can get at 34, but 51-1 more likely. Kieran McKenna, 34s, 26s. And then after that, you get Thomas Frank. You can get him as low as 67. But someone like Unai Emery, who's doing a really good job, you can't get for less than 101-1. So I thought that was quite interesting. So now what I want to do is, I want to show you, away from those odds, I want to show you the next Spurs manager odds. Okay, because I think this is quite interesting. This is the next Spurs manager odds, and this is where we're going to go with the show here. So if we actually look, let me take that to the top. You can see there, hang on, let's see if we can get all of these in screen. So you can see there that the bookies are actually making, and I disagree with the bookies here, the bookies are making Maurizio Pochettino the favourites. And you can get him at 4.33 or 4.5-1. But then the list of names after that is what's interesting to me. Poch, followed by Thomas Frank, Iraola, Silva. And if you actually look, Frank, Iraola, Silva, and McKenna, you can all get at roughly the same price. Although you can see that Iraola is the one you can get at the shortest with Betfair at 3-1. So the others are roughly in and around 5-1. This guy's in at 3-1. And then after that, and we're going to look at all of these managers individually in a minute, by the way. After that, if we scroll down, you can see there you've got Mason at 10s, Ten Hag at 11,
Right, mate.
Brendan Rodgers at 15s, Massimiliano Allegri at 17s. Then you start to go out a bit to managers that they don't think, and they just lift names to get you more and more on the list, right? So that's where we are. Is there anyone there that surprises you, lads, in terms of, is anyone surprised that Pochettino is the bookies' favourite to take over at Tottenham?
I'm surprised about that. Yeah, I'll be more thinking if it was someone that was available. Well, not available would be Turgic, if who's available, is still available. Who's got no job from the Dortmund, who used to be manager at Dortmund.
Yep.
I'm surprised that Iraola is not favourite, especially that Bournemouth are trying to get him on a new contract. And
Alex, do you think a lot of that is to do with all of the press hype this week on the Pochettino interview, rather than them probably believing he is going to take over?
I believe that, yeah, definitely. But Pochettino has this knack of having interviews and saying that he wants to go back to Tottenham anyway, and then the whole furore comes about anyway. Like it seems to be like every 2 years or 1 year anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I can take that for what you're saying there. But I do feel that there are other managers that are in jobs at the moment, are in lower clubs at the moment. Not that they're lower than us at the moment, we're lower than them. That probably will be angling for a top job if it becomes available. I think Marco Silva definitely would do that, because he was angling for a top job. Well, angling to Saudi Arabia last summer, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. So, I think to answer your question, I'm surprised that the other managers are not more favourite in the book with the bookies, to be honest with you, than Pochettino.
I mean, other than Poch, Iraola is the favourite with the bookies at 3-1, right? So other than Poch, and most people you speak to, Barry, Corey, whoever wants to go, most people you speak to, it seems to be, when we talk about what manager do we want at Tottenham next, it does very much seem to be Iraola is the answer. Is this just a flavour of the month, guys, or is it because of the kind of parallels between him and Poch? They did well with a smaller team in Spain. They've come over to England, taken over a smaller team, done really well, and now it's that jump, as it was from Poch from Southampton to Tottenham. Is that what all the Iraola praise, is that where it's come from?
It looks that way, doesn't it? It's just the similarities for both of the guys are so there as well. You just got a question. My favourite for it is literally Terzic, but Iraola is a very good coach as well as a manager.
Yes.
That's what you need to succeed in this job. You need to be able to handle all aspects of the job as well as just not one or the other. You need to be able to be a fantastic coach and manage all the other aspects of a football club, like the press conferences, everything else that comes with being a football manager. You can't just be a fantastic coach and not deal with the other side of it. You have to be able to do everything to a very high standard.
Mm-hmm. No, completely agree. Just quickly, welcome Chris, who messaged me to tell me off that I got some things wrong about odds. Chris, are you there? Is your camera working? Your sound working? No, it's not work, Chris. It's not working. We'll give him a second to see. Barry, is Iraola your favourite for the job?
I mean, with a view of saying that, I mean, yeah, I think it kind of makes sense, either him or Frank, if I'm honest. I think, and I don't even want to think about this, is that we're stuck with Ange until Pochettino's finished with the USA in the World Cup, and then Poch actually does come back, right? That's the only way. That's the only way it's going to happen. And I think I'd take Ryan Mason for a year if that was what was going to happen, rather than Ange, because he probably would have by that point actually had a proper fight with a fan, let alone glared at one and, walked back at one and done everything else, right?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think the interesting thing with this is when we talk about Pochettino, the interesting thing, and let's bring up some details about Pochettino, shall we? Let me stop that screen there. So this is the favourite for the job, Mauricio Pochettino. What do we know about him? Well, we know quite a lot about him as he is our ex-manager, right? But let's have a look at what his achievements are in football. We know that he got to the Champions League final with Tottenham Hotspur. We know he didn't win it. We know he got to the League Cup final, didn't win it. But as a manager, what has he done? He's won Ligue 1 with Paris Saint-Germain. He won the Coupe de France and the Trophy de Champions. Other than that, he hasn't won anything. Is that a worry that the man we sent off won something with a club that always win and he's coming back? Would he be coming back as any more of a winner? Is he any more experienced, or would we be getting the same guy that did a really good job but couldn't quite get over the line?
Maybe you're getting somebody that's learned at top clubs what to do and brought other skills to his resume a little bit. Maybe I think he maybe has developed as a coach possibly, and maybe he's going into a job that really he's got to start all over again. Maybe because I don't look at him as someone that's going to bring us back to. I mean, this is only if he comes back, because I'm to and froing whether I want him back or not. But to answer the question, I think him coming back is mainly him bringing Tottenham to where we were before. When you're bringing players, young players, he's a perfect person to develop them, and you'll see a development in Tottenham over the next couple of years. What happens next after that? Whether what we should have done when it was going a little bit downhill is that bringing another coach to bring the project on a little bit further. You know what I mean? So that's what I think Poch will bring, that development of the squad, individuals, to make them better players. And maybe those players might have to leave if they get ahead of what we are as a club. But at the same time, you can bring on another manager to bring on that project. And I'm not saying that there's going to be trophies in that. I don't know, but I just think that's where we're at the moment as a club, because we're not going to get those players that we need, and those top players. So we're going to have to develop them, and I think that's why I've been.
I agree with you, Alex. And I'll ask the panel this. Do you think the list of managers you see there as favourites, and again, just to confirm, so let's leave Poch out. You're looking at Frank, Iraola, Silva, McKenna, Terzic, Ten Hag, Rodgers. When you look at those managers, doesn't this reflect more that this is what Spurs need, rather than when we went for the Contes and the Joses? I hear people talking about, we need to go and get an Ancelotti, you need to get a Simeone. Surely that list is reflective of what Spurs actually need, isn't it, Alex and panel? We're not going to buy top players, so you've got to have a coach. You've got to bring in a coach that is famed for developing these players.
When you're thinking about the going back to Poch, back when we had players like Toby and Jan and Toby, these guys were on the periphery of the first team but never really getting in. We brought them in and he made them pretty much two of the best defenders in world football. Then we had obviously Rose and Walker on the wings, and then we had a solid midfield that knew what to do, as well as a striker that could put it in the net. So he had a system, Poch. Each one of these managers on the list has a system and a philosophy that actually works in this side of football. You can't just come from Japan and Scotland thinking that you can play a high line, everybody forward in front of that. It just doesn't work in this league. And he's like, Ange is getting caught out. Frank's system is very similar to Iraola's, as well as most of the other managers on that list. They all play a similar style. but it's depending on what system within the midfield they play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Danny, let me come to you. I mean,
You're right.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. I know you're always about 4 hours behind the rest of us with your sleep pattern. So
Yeah.
good morning to you, mate.
Been up about an hour and a half.
Oh, good. Well done to you. Well done to you. You've been up since about 2 p.m. Look,
Yep.
Dan, a lot of people have, did a video about Poch this week, and a lot of people came back to me, and I feel like a lot of people have short memories, Dan. A lot of people going, oh yeah, but look at the brilliant squad Poch walked into. Look at the top players Poch had. And they list off Dembele, Walker, Rose, Kane, Ericsson. But it wasn't that when he arrived, was it? It wasn't. No. When Poch arrived, those players weren't. It wasn't, oh, look at Dembele. Oh, look at Ericsson. Oh, Harry. He coached that, didn't he? He molded that.
I mean, really, who was Alderweireld before we got him? He was a player that couldn't hack it at, what was it, Atletico, if I remember right, and went to Southampton. And he played for his country here and there, but he wasn't anything special. He was a known player, and people could see he was good, but he was nothing special. When he got taken over at Spurs, then Poch coached him up another 2 levels, basically. And that's what he'd done with quite a few players, because we did bring in a couple. I mean, Kyle Walker was nothing really that special until Poch got hold of him. Danny Rose. Dembele was always quality, and I think he was always, due to injuries, a bit of an underachiever to what he could have been.
Great.
And Ericsson, we got him as raw as you can get a player. A lot of potential, but where could he go? And another one, he coached him to the top, basically. This is where we need a coach, someone who can coach players. Because one thing we definitely got in that team is a lack of strong mentality. This lot seem like a majority of them are a couple of boys that need someone with their arm around them and coached. And I just don't think Ange's got it. When it comes to it, Ange's just not the one for coaching, tactics, whatever. We need someone who's going to come in and still be able to adapt to the Premiership, but already knows what he's putting his foot into as such.
Yeah.
Whereas I think half the problem was with Ange is he came down here all swagging and a bit too big for his boots as such. And I don't think he realised how hard it was in here. So I would quite like someone like Iraola, who's already been managing in the Premier League, knowing what to expect, basically. We need someone who can coach. If we're going to do this project as such, then we need someone who can coach this project, if we're even doing that. And again, Ange is not the one.
I think you need to give him more credit, though, Dan, in that sense, with what he did with at Dembele, because I never thought he was going to do what he was going to do.
Agreed.
With Dembele. Agreed. Never, ever in a million years. And I think people completely forget that this guy was I don't even think Ange could even deal with this. We were at Wembley for 2 years. Mm-hmm. We weren't even at home. You know what I mean? So I think the way that he dealt with that squad, there were certain mistakes he made and stuff like that. But this is not me advocating him coming in. I'm just saying, for me, some of the stuff that he did with the squad, with certain players, was quite remarkable. Because like I said, and I've said it on my channel, I never wanted him, and he persuaded me. Like I'm not seeing with Ange at the moment. You know what I mean? Like it was just a natural saying, now I see something. And now I'm seeing something completely different. You know what I mean? You know?
I was basically
it takes a lot for me to see that. You know what I mean?
Saying how he's basically, I mentioned about 5 players, how he coached them up to what they were. I mean, the only thing I was mentioning Dembele for is basically, for me as a footballer, he underachieved very much for what he could have actually been. He could have really gone somewhere.
Yeah, good. Agreed.
Look, when we bought him from Fulham, when we bought Dembele from Fulham, no one went, oh my God, he's amazing. We were all like, okay, we've seen bits. But when Poch came in, Poch just got it right, didn't he? Like he got square pegs in square holes. He had the defence drilled, the midfield were drilled, the forwards all synced together. And look, I want to move on from Poch because, listen, we all know about Poch. And there are people that don't want Poch. They think that ship has sailed. Like Mafu says, I don't want Poch. For him, the ship has sailed. He's had his time, but we need a new face that is a similar profile to Poch. like Iraola. So I've got no problem with that. But I want to look at the next manager, guys, on the list. So the next manager on the list, you can get a 5-1 with Bet Victor. So if anyone's a betting man, you can get this manager at 5-1. And that manager is Thomas Frank. Now, this is a manager, guys, who gets put down quite a lot. I see when he's being talked about by Spurs fans, he gets put down quite a lot. And I don't know whether it's because he's at Brentford. I don't know whether it's because he's not challenging for things. But for me, he's not my favourite by a long shot. But if I woke up tomorrow morning and I saw that Thomas Frank had been given the Spurs job, I think a very likeable guy to start with. Yeah. I think his players play for him. He loses his best players every year, gets on with it. He's good with young players. Mm-hmm. He's good with players that are cheap, guys. If we're brutally honest about it, he's good with players that are cheap, that come in 10 to 15 million. He can organise a side. But the question I would have for you guys is, does he play that free-flowing football that our fans want to see versus is he a good coach? What do you guys make of a Thomas Frank?
I think it'd be a good idea. And I think it'd suit us for what a lot of us would want. But the problem we've got at Tottenham, again, is a lot of the fans. They seem to want everything. They want this mastermind coach. They want this out-and-out attacking football. They want these quality players. Well, sorry, in that aspect, we are only Tottenham Hotspur. We're not going to get that. And we need a coach like him who can play with the cards he's got and knows how to adapt with the cards he's got. Because we're not going to be getting in special players. We're not going to get a world-class manager in there. Yeah. I mean, if we ain't going to get another Conte, because you get people like them to do it now, not do it in 3 years' time. And all we're going to hear about is this project thing and whatever. It won't go away. But just because the manager's gone doesn't mean the project has to stop. If there is even a project. But Thomas Frank, I think he'd be a brilliant idea. I think he'd just fit the system basically. But then straight away you'd have the Ange lovers going against him. And then you'd have the other people out there whining that he's not playing out and out hardcore attacking football. Not that I actually think we play attacking football, but a lot of people seem to have it in their head that we do.
Yeah, Dan, you're right, and I think it's that arrogance. So if we go back to what we were talking about, players like, you know, an Aina, you know, we were talking about all those players from Forest, from Bournemouth, Tavernier. You know, we were talking about all those players.
Not you,
Spurs fans.
Barry. Not you, Plasma. That was at Barry for taking the piss out of how I said Tavernier.
But
I got that.
But I think. Look, I think that's the problem, right? We're sat there and we're going, "Oh, Frank's not sexy. That's not a sexy name. They're not sexy players." I don't think I think we're a million miles away from all of that. We need players that are going to do their job, that are going to be drilled, a manager that's going to drill them, and we're going to get results.
100%.
You know, we all sat there and said we didn't. You know, I wasn't a fan of Conte. I wasn't a fan of Mourinho. But Christ, what would I do to get those results now? 100% I would. And that's what we're missing. We just need to get down and dirty and get some 1-0s and stink the place out, you know? That's what we need to do. We don't need to play this free-flowing, you score 3, we score 4 or 5, or score in the 93rd minute to get over the line. We just need to start winning games of football, first and foremost.
I just want a manager to come in that is tactically aware of what the situation is. He's got more than one system of play that can adapt on the fly, comes out and shouts at his players. I am fed up of seeing Poch week in, week out of his hands in his pockets looking like a defeated child on the sidelines, like he's been stuck on the naughty step. You want your manager to have some sort of aura about him to come out and scream at players if they're not doing right. Can't take this anymore. I've been saying it for months. This guy just doesn't know how to coach, let alone manage.
What do you want your coach to be like then? Do you want him to be like an Ange, or do you want him to be like an Arteta? Or Another
I want him
type?
to.
What sort of one would you want him to do?
I think
I'll-
Corey, I think we need something in between, right? I think
Yeah.
gone are the days of
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson hairdryer treatment. Do you know what I
You
mean?
can't do that in this day and age. There's some.
Arteta's just a bit of a joke as well. What he does, right? But
I was going to say,
think
like,
what we
players
need to
nowadays
see,
look
and I
a
don't
bit
know.
skin, don't they?
Yeah. But what I think we need is someone to just to when you look across, you want to see something. You don't. It doesn't necessarily need to be shouting and screaming. But if you look at other managers, if you look at or actually at the coaches, they're all when there's a break, they're speaking to the players. They're telling players where to be. They're in the wrong positions.
Yeah, that's what I
They're
want.
pointing out where they need to be. We don't have that. We just have someone just stood on the sidelines with their hands in the pockets and waving their hands up in the air.
I really want.
Yeah.
I want my manager to tell his players what his system is. And if a player goes astray, he wants him to get back in position. Like, you come here, you stay there. I want that. I don't want this put everybody on the high line situation and run back and get injuries. It's just.
But Corey, do you know what?
Oh.
And I'll say it now, and I don't think anyone can answer. The only thing we can answer this question is, what is Ange for? Apart from chaos, I don't actually know what it is.
It's not. It's, listen. I don't want to go too much onto Ange because everyone should know Mr. Bottas' opinion because I've said it how many times now. So, but the point I'm making is though, right, to save the show for Savva. The point is though,
Alex, I said it from day one about this manager. Day one.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that this Thomas Frank, there's a part of me that I still want someone like Poch that wants to play some good football, but at the same time, we need someone that can adapt. And for me, at the moment, we've got more of a attacking team at the moment. For me, so for me, if we bring in a Thomas Frank, maybe this is the perfect sort of remedy for what we need at the moment. We might also see someone that's actually going to be adaptable to what and the strengths that we've got as well, and then that can just bring it on to another level for me. Whether that's going to be successful, I don't know. That's the thing at the moment. But again, like I say, I think we're at a stage at the moment where we have got a lot of youngsters there that I think Thomas Frank will be very good for. And he can enhance and develop, and that's the key thing here at the moment.
Isn't the big thing, guys? Yeah, Alex, I agree with you. Isn't the big thing here? I don't think we're asking a lot as football fans. Listen, no. I don't turn my nose up at every manager, right? I just want a manager that can coach. I feel like we've got so bad as a football team now that the defensive structure doesn't look good. The midfield doesn't look right, and the forward areas don't look right. None of it looks coached, and that's all I want. I want a manager that in game can go, do you know what? We're getting overrun here in the right back area. We're getting overrun here in the midfield area. Yeah, our wingers are getting no joy. What can we do? We got a guy that does this. He stands there, arms crossed, and then he's got loads of fans that just go, oh, it's the players. But the players need coaching. Players need management. You can see when, again, I'll use the most recent example, guys, before we move on to the next manager from Thomas Frank. The most recent example is the game we played, which was Fulham. Fulham are a mid-table Premier League team. They're a decent team, no more, no less. They're not amazing. Yeah, they're not world beaters. They'll win one, lose one. That's fine. Look how well drilled they were against us. Look how they kept the ball. Look how they moved it from right to left. Look how their fullbacks overlapped their wingers. Look how their two centre mids didn't stray from central midfield. They actually dictated the game from central midfield. But we've got half a fan base that don't seem to want this. We've got half a fan base that seem to want the chaos. They want the inverted fullbacks leaving the wingers of the opposition so much space. That's where I can't quite work out those fans' mindset for me is, why does anyone watch this and go, I want that? Like, why would anyone want chaos in any part of your life, gentlemen? Do you want chaos? You don't want chaos in your relationship. You don't want chaos in your finances. You don't want chaos with your job. You don't want chaos with your friends. So why with a football team do we want pure manic chaos?
Because some people just love a bit of drama. Some people love the drama of it. And football, to an extent, has got a lot of drama to the game as such. That's why people love it. But there's too many, I find, that want to see the you score 3, we score 4. Oh, yeah, it's all brilliant to watch an odd game like that here and there and win it like that, or even lose it like that here and there, but not consistently week in, week out. You're never going to do anything with that sort of system except get destroyed like we have done. There's a lot of fans I find out there who just they want the chaos theory, basically. They want the drama to come with it. They're not so bothered about a 1-0 win. Like, well, I'd rather see it 4-3, this and that, whatever. I get that. You see more goals than that. But there's just so many out there. They literally want the chaos theory. They want the drama of the football. They want the 3-2s, 4-3s, 5-4 and stuff like that. And they don't seem to be bothered. I've seen quite a few say at times when we've lost games like a 4-1 or a 4-2 or 6-4 or whatever, and said, yeah, well, I'd rather see that in good football than win 1-0. And I'm like, I'd rather win 1-0 and I don't care how we do it.
I'd rather win 1-0, stink the place out, sit back after we've got that goal, and if the opposition score, go for another, then try again, you know. I want a controlled, balanced team. This idiotic running around, leaving space open week in, week out, it's getting so redundant to watch that even ex-pros have been picking it apart now for nearly 16 months. So we take away the first 2 months when he was in charge, when we went 10 undefeated. 16 months after that, you had one Sky Sports guy come on going, this is how you beat Tottenham. A month later, this is how you beat Tottenham. This is how you beat Tottenham for 16 months. And then last week, you've got the likes of Gary Neville and Roy Keane, of all people, sitting there like picking apart Tottenham. This is how they've really let themselves go and everything like that. That match of the day 2 analysis of how badly we play should be everything that these fans should be looking at and going, why should we be playing like this? These guys are professionals. They're not turning up to play on a Sunday league pitch.
But some people just love drama. Some people want the drama. Like someone just said on the side there, if I want drama, I'll watch EastEnders. Sure, if I watch drama, I don't think I'd watch EastEnders. But my point is, there's a lot of fans, especially Tottenham fans, who want that drama on the pitch. I'm not one of them. Yeah, for an odd game or two, brilliant. But you want stability. You want a plan. You want a system. But some people don't want that. They say, what? They say that's too pragmatic or whatever.
Dan, like this. Unfortunately, this is what you get. You've got some Ange fans that think that the football we're playing is exciting. I think the football we're playing now is worse than under Jose and Conte. I think it's dreadful.
I agree, but everyone's got their own way of what they love in the football, isn't it? I mean, what I've said, how I would love to play, I love a defensive back 3, back 5, whatever, take up the pressure and then 3-4 direct balls up the pitch quick and score a goal. Whereas other people don't like having to sit back and defend. Other people want to see it up the other end all the time. It's each their own when it comes to the style of football. But the football we're playing at the moment, it's been 2 years and it looks like the players still don't know how to do it.
They're not learning.
Know what they should be
go
doing.
Back a few weeks ago after the European match when Madders and Son are sitting on the bench going, it's the same shit every week. Like, come on, you got your 2 best players sitting there on the bench questioning the manager. You're like, yeah,
Corey, you've got every pundit questions it.
I'll be back
every ex-manager questions it. Half the fan base, every fan base of every other club is questioning it, right? But yet we're told that it's just moaning and negative. Listen, I think hang on, but I think moaning and negative is wanting something that's not working to stay. If something's not working, fix it, right? I think the moaning and negative is the Man City fans who talk about Pep out because they've had a year where they're not challenging for the title after winning 4 in a row, right? That's moaning and negative.
That's irritating.
But
you're winning shit.
But losing 15 games in 29 and being 14th in the table, I don't know how any football fan, any Tottenham fan can look and say, this is what I like. This is getting better. And that's the key thing for me, Alex.
Is it getting
better?
No, it's not.
This is right, but this is my point. When we look at it as fans, I go, right, we've had a bad spell. People keep saying it's just a blip. It's a bad spell. We've lost 27 in 57 league games. That's not a bad spell. That's the norm. We're at a 52% loss rate. That's not.
Yeah, but our set pieces are better than those, Savva. Our set pieces are better than those, Savva. So we should be concentrating on that, even though we're 15th. That's what some articles I've heard, by the way. So I'm just the same.
Let's go. We're the top scorers in the lower part of the table. Second top scorers or third top scorers in the league when we're 13th.
What does that mean? Like what
exactly.
When these people
It
use
means
it as a
nothing.
badge of honor, what does it mean? So what? We score loads of goals. If you're losing games, it really doesn't matter, does it?
That means absolutely nothing.
The best one is though we lost by 1 cup. Every time you show it, I die giggling inside.
I actually deleted that the other day.
Oh no, it's like that. If we lost by 1 goal every game and we'd win the league.
Leeds scored loads of goals. Look what happened to them. They went down, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
So,
Just because you're top scorers means nothing.
I just think it just needs to be more controlled, like I said, and I think this is what just to segue back to Thomas Frank. I think that's what we're going to get with him. You see what I'm saying? And whether it's great football or not, I don't know. It's about the 1-0s or anything like that. It's just that I think players will start to learn and grow. That's the thing at the moment. I think that's where we're losing at the moment. The only thing that will go against him for me is that Brentford have got a very good recruitment at the moment. And obviously, at the moment, for me, at the moment, I think there's a question mark on our recruitment. Well, there's a big, massive question mark on our recruitment.
if Frank comes, in, bring the recruitment team with him.
But you know, I think
Isn't it amazing, Alex, what you can do with a little bit of scouting? Like, let's be fair. I went, Alex. I don't know if you were on the show when I did this the other day. I think Corey might have been, maybe Mark as well. Went through the Brentford squad, and listen, I think Brentford have got a lot of tidy footballers. I think Brentford have got a lot of really. I bet you in their dressing room, I bet you it's really good. And I don't mean the walls or the benches or the kit. I bet you in their dressing room, every player plays for each other. I bet you in the dressing room, everyone's like brothers. I bet you they're united as a dressing room because there's a togetherness. And you've seen the videos going around. Hopefully you've seen them all of Thomas Frank giving post-match chats to his team.
Yeah.
Right? And they're all sitting around. They're all listening to him intently. And he praises them. He's like, do you know what? I just want to say, listen, that was his 50th game today for the club. Absolutely brilliant. And that tackle you put in, great. And then I look at our players. Corey just called it. Our players are coming off, sitting on the bench in front of the cameras going, it's the same shit every week. There's no... This is what I don't understand. Why do we not want that as a fan base? Why don't we want togetherness? Why don't we want a manager that knows how to structure a back four? And listen, I want to move on from Frank because the next manager is most people's favourite. Okay, the next manager is. Before we do, just quickly, big up to Blaine. Another big £10 super chat. Really appreciate you, Blaine. You're a very generous man. I said, my opinion. Oh, we're going to disagree on this, by the way. I saw this earlier, Blaine. We're going to disagree. I think whoever comes in after Ange is going to have it difficult. It's all down to pounds. We need 3 to 4 quality players this summer. Cash is king, and we know the history of what happens. Blaine, as much as I appreciate you, I disagree. I think the next manager that comes in has got it easy. If they've got any tactical nous, they will get a tune out of this squad immediately. They will go in and they will get us organised. But it depends on whether you're talking about, has the next manager got it to win them something? I don't know. But listen, really appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Francis Reynolds just quickly said, Savva, we're sticking with Ange. You are deluded if you think otherwise. Dude, as I showed you, this is based on the bookies. The bookies have him as the second favourite to get sacked this season. So if you think I'm deluded, sure. If you like crap football and losing every week, knock yourself out, my friend. Big up to Alpesh, who said, Savva, how's the diet going? Because he saw me eat a chocolate bar and a pack of crisps. I've lost 11 pounds in 3 weeks. So it's going...
That was just in your Acca, though. That was last night's Acca, wasn't it?
I'm losing weight. Don't you worry about me, Alpesh. You worry about yourself. Anthony Clark with a super sticker. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you, Anthony. One of the nicest Arsenal fans around. Big up to you. And Anu, big up to you. As said, Roberto De Zerbi will be a fantastic manager for us. He has EPL experience and has already turned around things at Marseille this season. I would definitely take De Zerbi. I'm just having a look to see where he is on the list. You can get Robert De Zerbi at 26 to 1. You can get De Zerbi at 26 to 1. I would.
He might get frustrated though. Because he got very frustrated at Brighton though. I'm not saying he's not a bad manager.
It wasn't so much he got frustrated at Brighton. It was more the fans that got De Zerbi's back. I can vouch for that because I was going to matches for free and you could hear it in the stadium. How the players and the fans were getting on De Zerbi's back to make substitutions. And yeah, it was under De Zerbi, Brighton were a little bit more solid, but at the same time, he just wasn't making the subs at the right time. And games that he could have won, he cost them. And yeah,
you see, the next. Sorry,
Dad, just really quickly, I just want to say this. Adam, I think the difference is when people moan that we sign unheard players, I think if you've got a manager in that's got a history of working with those players, I'm all for it. What I don't think you can do is grab an unheard of player, give them to a manager like Ange that can't coach, and then we go, this boy's going to be good. Because unheard players, lesser known players, need coaching. They need coaching, and this is what an Iraola will give them, a Frank will give them, a Silva will give
Pochettino.
them.
Pochettino.
Oh, Eric Dyer even come out and said this guy doesn't coach. Eric Dyer.
Stanley! Sorry, I don't know if you lot heard that. I could just hear this. He's playing, but he's just making noise. All
Look
noise.
at what Pochettino did with Dele Alli.
Yeah.
For sure. But
Unknown.
Danny,
League Two.
sorry, just quickly, I'll cut you off, Dan. After that, Dan, I want to go to Iraola, who's the next manager on the list.
You see what? I still stand heavy by what I said, and the Ange had the easiest job I've ever seen a manager have in football, ever. And that was all he had to do was tell his players to kick the ball forward.
Tell you what, Alex's smile was infectious, doesn't it?
And that won over at least 80% of the fan base. Straight away, they was on him. Loved it because we actually kicked the ball forward. Whereas most of the time now, you see us kicking sideways, backwards, just as badly.
Or if
but I feel the next manager that comes in, I feel he's got a relatively easy job on one aspect as well. I mean, he's going to, and with the players he's already got, if he already knows how to work with the team and play with the cards he's got a team there that if they're coached the right way can get their act together. And he's also got a lot of supporters now that just want to see stability, not necessarily out and out defending, not necessarily out and out attacking, just a bit of everything when needed, stability, a plan. And that's what a lot of fans need now. So in that aspect, you'll have the next manager comes in, who I don't think he'll have the hardest job on the planet on winning a proportion of the fan base over by just bringing some stability to the bloody club, to the way we play. Whereas I'm not saying it will be as easy as Ange's job was winning the fans. No one will ever get an easier job in football. But we just need someone now with stability. And there's a lot of people, even the ones who did love Ange up to 2 months ago, who are now saying, this is just too much. Just get us someone stable. Get us someone who looks like they know what they're doing on the pitch. Get us someone who can get involved with the players. I mean, it looks like we don't even coach a defensive style. I think that's just what we want at Spurs now, majority, stability.
Do you want to know what I put it down to? Like, have you ever seen the film Sergeant Bilko?
No.
All right, there's a scene in Sergeant Bilko where he's this is what I think Ange is like. He's writing the word plan out on the board and it's backwards and spelt wrong. It's P-L-A-N, plan. And it's like spelt backwards and everything. He's just so condescending when he's trying to get these guys to be motivated.
To be honest, Sean Butler was on a couple of nights ago. I only caught a little bit of his show. He said the next manager that comes to Tottenham has got the easiest job. And I agree with him. Because after the nonsense After the nonsense we've had to put up with, the 19 losses this year, all the rest of the rubbish that's gone on, if he gets us stable, and plus you've got to remember all the youngsters we've bought, they're still maturing and they're still getting better.
Mark,
you know what I mean?
That's basically what I said.
Yeah,
that is what
exactly.
I said.
Exactly.
You just won't have it easier than what Ange had.
Yeah, and to be honest, the style of play means nothing to me as long as we're winning. I don't care if we stink it out and win it 1-0.
But Mark,
I don't
have,
care.
have a look at this, right? So when people are saying they don't want Frank, for example, have a look at what Frank's doing with that. Look at this is their last 11 that played, by the way, right? Imagine I had said in the summer to any of you, Spurs were going to have any one of those 11 players in the team. Now, maybe on Buemo, people would have been on board with. But if I had said to you, Flecken, Potter, Pinnock, Collins, Ayer, Janelt, Norgard, Sharda, Damsgaard, I would have been told we've got a much better squad than that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, a few seasons ago, we was linked to Damsgaard.
Hang on. But this is the team that played in their last game against, if I'm not wrong, that went to Bournemouth and won 2-1.
Yeah.
So this 11 went to Bournemouth and won 2-1. Spurs, we went there, they played us off the park. And this is what I mean. If you've got managers that can do it with these players, you're telling me that any manager that comes in to Tottenham Hotspur with the squad we've got can't get a tune out of them. I don't believe it in any way, shape or form.
Look at the way that he got the best out of Burma and Whistler, and also Damsgaard, because I think Damsgaard, when he came in, he struggled, didn't he? But now look at him now; he looks like a proper, you know what I mean? And the new striker they've got, I think his name, I forgot his name now. The new striker they've got, I think so. Yeah, I think he's fit now, isn't he? I think he's looking.
He's missed the whole season, isn't he? He's missed the whole season. Yeah.
And I think he looks a little bit good, doesn't he? He looks very promising, doesn't he? So, you know, and also the defenders as well look very comfortable in that midfield as well. Looks very comfortable as well. They have their odd moments, Brentford, but they would do. You know what I mean? They've just come up from the, you know, they would do, you know? Because they're not such a big. Yeah, but this is an excuse, though. This is an excuse. Because the thing is, though, right? When you're top team, you handle it every single year. You know what I mean? This is why I can't hear this stuff about. Sorry, I'm gonna unleash here. Right? This is why I don't like hearing. Oh, when he gets Champions League, when we were in Europa League, I don't know. Right? Oh, we're in the Champions League. Okay, we were complaining about Europa League though. We've got 2 games a week. We don't train, so that's going to be even worse. So stop saying about Europe. Stop saying about you. If you're a top team, you can handle it. Top teams handle it.
But Alex, even without that,
Spurs
being in Europe isn't the reason why we set up tactically how we set up, which is abysmal.
Exactly.
Spurs being in Europe isn't the reason why we're wide open. And this is the thing, Reezy, where people like you, Reezy, that keep saying these excuses. Yeah. Other teams have got Europe. Other teams have got Europe. They've not lost 15 out of 29 Premier League games, my friend. Right? Brentford might not have Europe. But if I had said to you, Reezy, at the beginning of the season, Brentford with 9 games to go, let me double check this, make sure I'm right. Brentford with 9 games to go are 7 points clear of Tottenham and have lost 3 games more and have won 2. Sorry, have lost 3 games less and won 2 games more. You would have been the first person going, nah, Frank's rubbish. Brentford are crap. It can't be a... Okay, here's the question. Everyone in the chat, who wants European football next year? Everyone wants to win the Europa League. So who wants European football next year? Right? Sure. Everyone wants European football. If we all want it, we can't then use that as the excuse. That can't be, hey, this is the goal we're aiming towards. Oh, now I've got it. Oh, no, that's the excuse why we're not very good. That can't be the answer, guys, can it?
No.
Well, to be honest, I'll be honest with you. For the stuff that we got now,
Still Stanley.
the £1 billion stadium, the training facilities and all that, Europe is a minimum.
Of course.
Europe is a minimum for a club for a club that we're meant to be. That's minimum.
Especially with
is the
everything that we
minimum.
bring in, like the boxing, the F1 underneath the stadium.
Well, I included that with what I said.
Yeah, I know.
You know, all that goes on there, and the club we are, the finances we got. That's
Mark, my friend Mark, yeah, right. I'm sorry, but when I hear, not having a go at you because you make an absolutely spot on point, by the way. Don't get used to it though. My point is though, yeah, is that we should be getting Europe because we are top team, right?
Yeah.
If we're a top team, you get Europe. Then there's no excuses. There is no excuses anymore for me, right? For me, and I'm not having it. I'm not having it whatsoever. And the thing is, though, it's our fault because at the beginning of summer, again, I said this on Mr. Box Office TV when the article came out about our midfielders, our generational talent, saying, well, we don't need any midfielders because we've got Archie Gray and got Bergvall and Eamon Preston in training, so we don't need any midfielders. So that was what they were saying. The aggregators on who are newspapers were all saying this. Yeah, then we said about our defenders saying, "Oh no, we don't want to block the pathway to Phillips that we completely ignored last season." And Vuzovic, who's a superstar, like some of these YouTubers that made videos about Vuzovic coming back. He's our next superstar, the superstar defender. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry. What we do is get a proper squad. Why is it Newcastle are able to do it and not? We weren't moaning about last season, Champions League last season, and they still got on with it, and they're unlucky not to get Europe. Why is it now Aston Villa getting on with it? They've had injuries. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing this rubbish. It's rubbish. And this guy here,
Alex, there's a lot of teams with a lot more injuries than us as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this guy
is boring to listen to this year. I switched off from anyone using the injury argument. I'm like, nah.
And then just to segue to this guy here, Iraola, right? He's had loads of injuries as well. But all I'm hear is, he's got one game a week. But he coached his squad. That's why. He coached his squad. So he's got more plays available to him because he's coaching his squad. He's making them better than they are at the moment. He's using the abilities that he's got. That's the whole thing.
I think one thing you have to look at is there's a very thin line between reasons and excuses. You can give something as a reason 2 or 3 times and then it can easily become an excuse. Or you can just give an excuse, basically. Now, if we'd have been pretty stable before we had the injuries and then just totally crashed like we did sort of thing, then you could say the reason could be down to the amount of injuries we've had. And maybe part of some of the results have been down to some of the injuries we've had.
Sure.
So there's your little reason to it. But the fact that we've now got everything back and we were still losing games that we shouldn't be losing, that reason turns into an excuse. And then the fact that we've now pretty much got a full team back and still just looking just as bad as when we had the injuries, same as when we was losing games like Ipswich, Palace, and Leicester, Ipswich. Who was it we lost to? Ipswich, Palace, and then either way,
we've lost to all of them. Ipswich, Palace, Leicester, Everton. You name it, Dan.
Chelsea.
When we had our full teams as well. So to me, that reason of say maybe 2 or 3 games why we've done so bad in a long period of time of the injuries turns into an excuse when you blatantly see it. When we got the full team, we're playing just as bad. So you can use things. I mean, look at where Villa are. Are they in that place because they are playing in Europe and they're playing in the Premier League at the same time and they haven't got a massive squad, had a few injuries? Is that actually that reason, or are some going to say that would just be an excuse? Again, this is what I'm saying, between a very thin line between where people use reasons and excuses.
Sure. But Dan, do you know the thing with Villa? The thing that interested me, I mean, someone said to me the other day, they always say your Villa, Savva. I don't know why they're my Villa, but, if you look at Villa, someone said, look at the terrible season they're having. They're down in 9th. It's like, they're 3 points off a Champions League spot. Villa are 3 points off a Champions League place while sitting in the quarterfinals of the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain, right? Now, if Aston Villa, and bearing in mind, Dan, the key thing for me here as well is when these people like the Reezies want to talk about Europe, here's my question to you lot. In the Champions League, how many games do we reckon Aston Villa have probably put out their best 11 playing Champions League opposition?
All of them.
All of them, right? You would
say
maybe 1 or 2 changes, but let's be fair. If they're taking out Kamara and putting in Tielemans, it's okay, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Spurs, I'm going to ask this. Throughout our group games, all 8 of our group stage games or table, whatever it's called now, how many times in that 8 did we play our first 11
Not
in
a
those
lot.
8 games?
No, I don't think we did.
I don't remember us doing it, right? So
those
when
youngsters that weren't getting a game is the time they did get a game. Is that right? Archie Gray, Bergvall?
Right. So when I've got people like Reezy saying, but they don't have Europe, I would understand that if our best 11 was playing in Europe every single week. But it's not. It never has. The 11.
That's what I mean with reason and excuse. Yeah. It's a very thin line. A reason can be a reason and a solid reason. And then within a matter of a week or 2, it can turn into an excuse. And sometimes people hear a reason and think it's an excuse when it is actually a bit of a fair reason. It's just such a thin borderline between them is basically the point I'm getting at. And I think the people who still want Ange in and that, I think they're pretty much lost for excuses. I mean, how many more excuses can this man get? Because you could have said they were reasons, the injuries, if we wasn't getting smashed before the games and then also getting done after the games we got our players back. You can say it's a reason that we probably lost 1 or 2 of those games that we had half a team out there. But then it's just become an excuse, basically. And it is shown again when he's got pretty much his full team that it was just an excuse.
Well, Dan, do you know what makes a mockery of this whole conversation about the Europe being a reason? Do you remember the Galatasaray game where I was told, oh, well, we made 7 changes because the league game is more important. And everyone said that the Galatasaray game was a free hit, right? We made 7 changes, then put our full 11 out against Ipswich on the Sunday and lost to Ipswich. So these people can't have it both ways. Look, as I said, Aston Villa, Arsenal, these clubs are in Europe flying. These guys are in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, playing better opposition than us. And both of them, Arsenal will definitely get Champions League qualification through the league. Villa still could. It just makes me laugh, the excuses. But look, I want to look at this guy. So this aren't on the screen at the moment. This is Iraola. Now, other than Pochettino, Iraola is the favourite with the bookies at 3-1. Okay? You can get him as low as 3-1. You can see that I think he's had a very similar route. Sorry, what am I, American? Am I American? A route? Route. Sorry.
Route
he's
64.
had a very similar route to what Pochettino had. He had a bottom half team in La Liga, followed by a bottom half team in the Premier League. Now looking for that next step. Guys, what are we thinking of Iraola? The bookies have him as favourite other than Pochettino. What do we like about him? Would we have him? What do you reckon?
I think he's a very interesting. There's 2 things about him that's very interesting at the moment, right? Because I've done a little bit of digging on him, right? He has got from what I've seen, from what people said, he's got a similar background to Pochettino, right, back in Spain, right? He obviously has got something about him, about his system, but also he's very adaptable as well. And he coaches as well, right? And you can see the upline trajectory of Bournemouth to a point as well, right? Another thing as well that I found out about him, and I'm not just talking about him, his assistant back in Spain, Igor, I think Perez, I think it is.
Okay.
Perez, he's kind of similar. He's kind of similar. He's at Real Vallecano at the moment, and he was going to go to Bournemouth at the same time, but because of visa issues, he wasn't able to go. And he's kind of similar to him. That's the thing at the moment. So what I'm trying to say is that there are others like that. You see what I'm saying? There are others like that at the moment still. Yeah. So you could still go for Iraola because he's got experience now in the Premier League. But there are people out there that are unknown that you could go for as well. You know what I mean? And this is where it's interesting. You know what I mean?
Brighton do? They go and get a De Zerbi. They go and get a Fabian Hürzeler. You know, these clubs seem to do it. We don't seem to ever find that. We wait for, like, Poch was Southampton got him. Didn't Southampton went and done their homework on Poch, and then we took him. Danny, let me ask you: if you had the option, is Iraola your number one? If you had the option, or is there somebody else?
Well, the one I want would never happen, and that would be Inzaghi from Inter Milan.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm
not
talking in terms
happen.
of
that is who I'd want.
The bookies.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying who I really want. But there's three that I mean, Nagelsmann would still be one I'd be very interested in. Iraola would be more on taking from what people have said. I mean, I've watched them a couple of times at the most, read a fair bit about him, heard a lot about him, and he sounds like what we need. But I can't really judge him on what I've seen because I haven't really seen that much off of him as such. But from what everybody else says and other people say, he sounds like a very interesting manager on what we could do with, basically. And with what he is doing with his team at the moment, he's playing with the cards he's got and he's doing it right. Another one I wouldn't say no to, and people would say this is probably a bit of a weird one, but I just like his style of play, is it's not big manager or nothing, Gasperini from Atalanta.
Oh, you got no chance.
Oh, I know that, but he's another one I'd like as well. Well, you've got more chance of getting him than Inzaghi, but the way he plays with a what is it, 3-4-1-2, but plays with two DMs basically, I think it'd suit us down to a T. He's another manager I would like, but with Atalanta third in the league and only 5 or 6 points off top, so, is it 5, 6, something like that? They're getting Champions League next year, and we wouldn't get him. But he would be another manager I would seriously like. But Iraola, if we're going to be realistic, is one I think we can honestly go for. And same as you said about Frank earlier. But from what I've heard about Iraola, he sounds like a promising manager.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, I know that we all know of the Sheriff's love for there it is on your T-shirt. He's magic, you know.
6 years ago from We Are Tottenham TV.
6 years ago.
It must
Mark, I know that your first choice. I'm going to assume, which is terrible at times, but I'm assuming Poch is your first choice. But do you see the similarities in terms of Poch and Iraola? Would you be against it?
No. I think Iraola. Right now, you look at what Now I said this on another show I was on with you. Like, Bournemouth's only down the road, so I'm not being disrespectful to them because I don't want their fans knocking on my door. But
mate, don't worry about other teams' fan bases. I've got Spurs fans making videos about me. I won't worry about it, mate. I don't even need enemies from afar. I've got them from within. Don't worry about it.
I'm not being disrespectful to Bournemouth, but Bournemouth are a team, right? Their ground would fit into our south stand and some, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're a team with limited resources. They are basically a small club playing in the big boys league, and they've done well. They've come up and they've deserved to come up and they've stayed in the Premier League. Fair play to them. Right. And what Iraola has done with that squad, and Eddie Howe before him, because it was Eddie Howe that brought him up. But what Iraola's done with that squad is, to be honest, it's amazing. It truly is amazing for a club that size to be in the Premier League and competing. Because we're Bournemouth in the league now. Well, certainly above us. Most teams are. But you know what I mean? Like, just to be in that position.
Just to let you know, Bournemouth currently are only 10 points clear of us.
Well, that's a nonsense, to be honest.
Just the 4 wins in front of us, and they've only lost. Yeah. They've lost 9 games all season, Mark. We've lost 15.
Well, there we go. And to be honest, Iraola gives me them Poch vibes, because you've got to remember Bournemouth is very close to Southampton. It's only along the coast a little bit.
Yeah.
And he gives me them Poch vibes. And I believe, put it this way, if we're not getting Poch, but put it this way, the only reason I want Poch back is because I want the good memories to come back. I want the times where on a Saturday or Sunday when we were on Sky, you'd watch it on the telly and think, even before it started, you virtually know that we were going to win. You know, when Poch was here, all the banter that I used to get from Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, Man United fans, Arsenal fans, it all ceased. And I got a lot more respect. You know, I want the butt of every joke, you know, because I supported Tottenham. You know, but like, so after Poch, I'd love Poch back, but
no, I get it.
Iraola would be my first choice.
Outside of Iraola, I've actually got a list of 3 managers I really like after Iraola. And it's whether if we get them, my top pick outside of Iraola is Joachim Low, Terzic, and hang on, let me get my notepad back up again so it's working because my phone's running slow. And Hassan Flick. 3 really good managers there. Yeah, Flick.
From Barcelona.
Oh, he's at Barca now. I thought he was still out of. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll remove that guy from my out of managers list.
Managers don't go from Barcelona to Tottenham Hotspur, mate. That's just not quite how it works.
I mean, you got I've also got like there's 5.
We signed that player in front of them, though, didn't we?
Massimiliano.
Who was it? Chose us over Barcelona.
Allegri's in a job now, isn't he?
He is. I mean, look, I was going to come to you. The next manager I want to talk about, guys, is listen. Look, I would take Terzic. There's managers out there like Terzic that I would take. As I said, I just want to coach. And what Mark said there about when Poch managed, it was kind of like you knew you were going to win. I just want to see a team where I know we're going to be coached. I just want to see it. Yeah, I just want to see a team where you think, all right, win, lose or draw, we know we've been in a game, not. Oh, Fulham turned us over Fulham didn't even do a lot last weekend.
No.
Fulham didn't need to do a lot, beat us 2-0. And, you know, the fact that people like Ryan Sessegnon are coming on for them and bullying us says it all. I want to talk about this manager. I'm only going to go until 4:30 because I need to leave my house at 5. So I need to get ready. Getting this ugly face to look half decent for dinner is, it takes a long time these days, guys.
Put the foundation on the mascara.
Exactly. Foundation, mascara, everything goes onto this face these days. I want to have a look at this guy. There he is. For me, I think this guy, Marco Silva, I think is a very interesting option. And the reason why I think that is, if you had said to me when he was at Watford or Everton, would I want him? My answer would have categorically been no, right? It would have categorically been absolutely not. But I think that he's matured and grown as a manager. And I think his time at Fulham, I think he does a really good job, guys. I think if you look at it, at 178, drawn 40 and lost 56 of his games in charge of Fulham for 4 years and a 44% win rate over that time. This is a manager that lost Mitrovic. Now, Mitrovic was their Kane. And take that for what it means, right? I'm not saying he was Kane. He was their goal scorer, right? They lost Paulinho, who was their best player last season, right? This manager, don't worry, I'll get it sorted. Yeah, goes and buys Lukic. If I'd said to you, Lukic and Sander Berge, most people would have lost their minds at that fall as a midfield. Emil Smith-Rowe, Iwobi, people would have said rejects. Adama Traore, he's rubbish. Raul Jimenez, he's gone. He's not as good as he was. Tom Kearney, right? Rodrigo Muniz. People like Anderson at the back with Bassi. Again, our fans would have poo-pooed all of these players. Look what he's done with them, right? They are currently, as a team, Fulham are currently in 8th, 11 points clear of Tottenham Hotspur. And the key stat for me, guys, he's nearly lost half the amount of games that Ange has this season. He's lost 8 games of football in 29 as opposed to our 15. Marco Silva, anybody? I put up a good case for him there. Anyone?
I wouldn't say
no to him. I wouldn't say no to that either. Again, from what I've seen him in Fulham, and I've seen Fulham play a couple of times as well, it looks like, again, that he's got some stability about the way he plays. I mean, like you say, the amount of games he hasn't lost. there's stability there. There's a plan there. You can see you can see that the players know the system, how to play it, because it's not so bloody complicated or just gung ho. There's an actual plan to it. And again, he's another one who I think could be fine for what we need. I think we do need to bring in a Poch type of coach, someone who's on the way up as such. There's no point on going for a Conte or a Mourinho, like I said, because that's when you want the job done now. That's just not going to happen. We've had our chance with that. But with the teams they've been with as well, I think he'd also be able to come to Spurs and adjust his game slightly as well to the players he's got if he had to. Not just one that comes in and says, right, this is how we play football and that's all there is to it. Because with the team he's had at Fulham, he's had to adapt a few times. He's another one. I wouldn't say no to him. Not on the fact that I'd quite happily take Ryan Mason over Ange. On a serious level, he's another one who I would take seriously.
I'll be honest with you.
I mean, his system is counter-attacking as well. You know, it's not a gun-ho attack. It's more control, possession-based as well, his system, and hit on the break, whereas ours just is all over the place. There's no real cohesion between defence, midfield. Like Savva said, that our strikers are pretty much running around with their heads in their shirts, not looking for the ball. It's just terrible.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Out of all of them, I don't care who is the manager, as long as we look like a team and set up like a team and I coach well.
You're saying that? Have you seen the IT crowd, the very first episode? I want them to be a team. If they're not a team, then sack them.
No,
and if you can't get them out, then you'll
that's nothing to do with it, to be honest. But I don't care who we get as manager. I don't care who it is.
I just think. Oh God.
Sorry, just really quickly, I just want to say again, look, I like doing this because it shows us Spurs fans for what we are, right? This was the Fulham team that played in their last game, right? As you can see there. And again, we know this because this was against us. When you look at this, again, if I had said to anyone at the beginning of the season, this team, this 11 would be 11 points clear of Tottenham with 9 games to go, would only have lost 8 games, we would have lost 15. People would laugh at me.
You'd have been called even more negative.
Do you want to know something else with Fulham that gets me? They seem to be able to get draws, whereas we can't.
Hang on. Willian, for example, is what, 37, 38, right? We're talking about Son being done at 32. Iwobi. People would have laughed at it. Look at that team. If I had said to you at the beginning of the season, this team Ange has got, people would have ridiculed me.
You'd have been called even more negative.
Right.
Than you already are.
But with that team, this manager has got them. Let's have a look, guys. They are 3 points off of the Champions League right now, Fulham. 3 points off of the Champions League. What a bloody good job he's done. But
that's what you get for the bit of coaching.
Turning their nose up at him while still fighting the battle for Ange Postecoglou. I just don't understand what people are watching.
I look at that midfield. Look at the midfielders. Right, I said Sandra Berg came from Sheffield United. I don't know where Lukic came from. They're proper midfielders that I would have my midfield tomorrow. I would have him in my midfield tomorrow. All I need to say is that one name, right? That people would look at and say, no, I wouldn't have him, but I have him right now as a fullback. Anthony Robertson, right? Look how he's developed over the last couple of years. He's a proper fullback.
Yeah, good player.
A proper fullback, yeah? Now a top player, right? Willian, right? Like you just mentioned, against us, he looked like a proper pro, experienced pro. You know what I mean? Just experience, and he was the reason why we lost one of the goals, right? Also because Alderberg lost the ball, but that's another story. You know what I mean? And you know, look at the players they've got. I mean, they've got Anderson in defence now, and they lost their best player last season, like you mentioned. I mean, it's just for me, it says a lot for me. The coaching, he has matured and he learned from his old, and you can see he's developed as a coach. When again, I don't want to go on about Ange, but I don't see that.
Alex,
you know what I mean?
If Robinson, by the way, I think Robinson's a brilliant player. I've said it for years. I think Robinson's a brilliant left back. Guys, Robinson wouldn't be this Robinson playing for Ange.
No, he wouldn't.
When you watch Robinson play, like we did at the weekend, he does this every week. He overlaps. Every game, Robinson overlaps and gives that width for when Willian or whoever's on the left cuts inside. At Spurs, it would be the other way around, wouldn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Robinson would be coming inside, driving with the ball into midfield. But this is the problem. Same with, I don't know if you've seen, guys, this week we've been linked with Nouri of
Nouri,
another really good left wing back, if you will. But again, good player. I don't want Ange having these players. I just don't. I don't think he knows what to do with them.
You see, look at Rodrigo Muniz. He always causes us problems, and he just came out of the blue. I can name up Andres Pereira. He was a Manchester United reject. Look at him now. You know what I mean? You know, it's just like, and look at Adama Traore. He ain't as calamitous as he was before, wasn't he? He's more measured now when he's attacking now. You know what I mean? And that's because of the coaching of Silva. He's getting the best out of the players that he's got, and that's the whole point. So I think there's so many good arguments for this manager.
Alex, Torino is where Lukic came from. He came from Torino.
What does that say to you?
Such an out there club.
Dan would go mad about it because that's his favourite league, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's your favourite league, isn't it, Dan? You know what I mean? You know? So it's just, I don't even know what to say, really, because Lukic and Sanderberg looks like a proper midfield duo. You know what I mean? Proper midfield duo. Because I was really impressed when I was at the games. I was at the game for Fulham, and they were so impressive for me. Really impressive for me.
The other thing is, a lot of people, a lot of chat, a lot of people who do shows in that, they literally only watch the Premier League.
Yeah.
So when you mention a player from another league, unless he's not necessarily a superstar as such, but a very well heard of player, straight away where they know nothing of the player, oh no, we don't want him because no one's heard about him. Well, if you go and check with other people, quite a few people know about him because they watch more football than just the Premier League. No, name a lot of players in Spain to me. A lot of them go straight over my head. I really don't follow the Spanish one. I follow Serie A next, whereas other people might know more about Bundesliga, whatever else. But I just find there's a majority of people out there who only watch the Premier League. And you mentioned
I'm a lot like that, man. I know you want to finish soon, Sav, but can we just talk about how good Harry Kane was last night? He was everywhere. He was everywhere.
Hang on. Let's wrap up the coaching piece. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, I could have gone on with loads and loads of managers. You've got people like Terzic next in line, people like Kieran McKenna's in there. You've got people like Allegri. Then you start going down to the likes of Xabi Alonso. I can't understand why he would come to us. Xavi Hernandez as in the ex-Barcelona manager, I think would be really good for the young players. But look, there's a lot of managers out there, and as I've said, if this manager doesn't win the Europa League, it just is a real embarrassment for Tottenham Hotspur. We got 3 minutes. Mark, was Kane that good? I think he got a good goal. Was he that good other than that?
Well, I will admit, I was sort of in and out of the game. But whenever I saw he was back defending, he was spraying balls from midfield. But Harry Kane's just Harry Kane.
And what he's always done.
Yeah, I know, but like, how much are we missing him?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll be honest, Mark. I did a watch along for the game yesterday. I actually thought that Harry Kane was anonymous, apart from the goal. And by the way, I'm not knocking that. When the ball came to him, he took it out. He took it out wonderfully. He took it out.
Every time I saw him, like a corner come in, and he got his head in it and cleared it. And then he was dropping deep in midfield and spraying the ball about everywhere.
Yeah, but Mark, I'm not going to judge Harry. I'm not going to judge Harry Kane based on defensive headers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like...
Well, no, but that's the sort of player he is. He did that for us as well. Like even when he was with us, he was the top scorer. And whenever a corner come in, whose head would be on it? Harry's.
No, but listen, I hear you. I'm just saying, I watched the game last night. I didn't think... Again, everyone else who watched it, I thought that the goal was brilliant. Other than that, I didn't really think that England got him into the game. And I find it worrying that Kane has to drop deep when you've got Rice, Jones, Bellingham, Foden. I don't know why he feels the need to drop deep, but great goal. Brilliant goal and that's everything about Harry Kane, isn't it? That's what he is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyone else? We've got 2 minutes till we end. Anyone else? Last night, I thought it was really boring, would be my
To
summary.
be honest, I watched SmackDown, so I watched the wrestling instead of the football.
Fair enough.
Little Albania versus England. If it was like England, Brazil, I'd probably watch, but international football to me is pretty much dead on its own.
With games like this, unless it's a big competition, I really don't follow England, and I found England boring for a long time. And like Phil has said on there, I've said it for ages, they're the international version of Spurs, basically. I mean, I'll leave it to what I do tonight and watch UFC up at the O2. So I'd rather watch that than SmackDown.
Well, fair enough.
I'm more excited about the boxing on the 26th. I'm more excited about the boxing on the 26th of April, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's another thing as well. You know what I mean?
We've got boxing, wrestling, and UFC. Brilliant. Let's skip over that this is a football channel. Look, Mark, what I would say to round off the England chat, England, again, it was death by passing. It was a lot of passing for passing's sake. No one seems to want to take a man on. No one seems to want to have a shot from 20 yards these days. No one wants to get crosses in the box. Listen, as a possession-based game, England was superb. But if you don't do anything with it, it just feels really, really mundane. But it's his first game as England manager, and he did say after the game that that's not how he wants them to play. He did say he wants them to get closer to goal and create more. So we'll see. But yeah, I just thought it was, again, Foden, square peg in a round hole, just being chucked out on the right. It's not where he wants to be.
Cullen.
But yes, guys and girls, listen, thank you very, very much. Just thought it was an interesting show. Obviously, Ange hasn't gone anywhere yet. We can only but hope. And you know why I hope he goes more than anything, guys, to run it all off? I think there's a lot of players at that club that get a really raw deal that deserve some coaching. I think there's a lot of players there that we mug off that deserve coaching. Maddison, I think, deserves a coach. Yeah, I think Papa Sarr at that age deserves a coach. Bergvall, Gray, Porro, Van der Ven, still a young man, Dogie, Odeberg. I think these guys deserve a proper coach. So I'm not shitting on the team. I just can't stand the football manager. Guys, thank you very much. I have Mr. Super Chat. Big up to Ayub for coming again. Very generous of you. Thank you. Who said too early to judge on Iraola. Also, even without the European games, his squad has suffered too many injuries. That's something we need to look into. Sure, absolutely. Listen, with anything, Anoop, I don't think Iraola's perfect. With everything.
By the way, he's the same time as he's employed the same time as around the same time as Ange, by the way. So you know what I mean? Just saying.
Yeah, when we're saying too early to judge it, I mean, look at look. Anyone got anything they want to? Corey, I know you wanted to plug something. Feel free to shoot, mate.
Yeah, sure. There's a channel with me, Phil, and Jackie on. We're now running a bit of a geeky escape from football and sport. We're called Blockbuster Movies, Games, and Television. So if you're into your Marvel, your DC, Star Wars, or Star Trek, cartoons, anime, and manga in between, we talk about it once or twice a week now on YouTube. We're constantly having a massive sort of like back thing in WhatsApp, like who can get the most obscure cartoon, see how long it takes someone to guess kind of thing going on at the moment. And we're trying to build ourselves up. So if you guys and girls are interested, there's our plug. I think I put it in. But yeah, please
have come. Have we got the link in there? Have we got the link?
Yeah. I believe
okay.
It won't work if you put it in because you're not a mod.
Oh, well, there we go.
There you go.
But
quickly put it in the private chat to me. Quickly put it in the private chat to me. Very.
Philly's done it.
Has Philly done it?
Yeah, Philly. Yeah, there's our brother.
Okay. Philly done it 3 or 4 times.
Okay, brilliant. Let me just copy this quickly. Copy link address. So there you go. Philly's put it in. There it is as well. If anyone's into that type of thing, there you go. It's there for you. There is the link. Each to their own. I'm sure people like things other than I think I'm sure people like things other than football. So there is the link. Please get over there, show some love. Thank you. We've had 7 or 8 subscribers today. So thank you very much. Please.
We're on later as well.
Please, I was about to say, please subscribe to Mr. Box Office. Please subscribe to the Hotspur Hood, and please subscribe to the 2 Mark Show. And they are live. What time are you live tonight?
It's on Nigel's channel, Nigel Pure Coys.
Okay, it's on Pure Coys.
We just have a few beers and chat rubbish.
Love it.
It's a good laugh.
It.
It's a good. We do chat some Tottenham, but you know, I can't remember half the time because I'm normally drunk.
Listen, what a glowing advertisement for that. Guys, please always remember one thing as well. Please just remember this is football. When content creators come on talk football, there's no harm intended. There's no beef. There's no problem. Everyone gets on in the most part. It's just football. All right. It's just football. Everyone's allowed to say what they want. So take care. Much love. And as always, Ange out, Levy out, Lang out, Munn out. And come on, you Spurs.